She was
Your
sent to
fear
kill
is
the king, but
intoxicating.
something totally
Stay back.
unexpected
You
happened
cannot
when they
escape.
met.
No,
The
please.
Your
vampire
light
king
is
saw the
mine.
scar on her.
You
He knelt
cannot
down.
escape me.
It is really
What do
strange
you
that the
want?
vampire
You
king,
will
who is
serve
supposed to
me.
be a powerful
Never.
person, would kneel down
The
like
storm
that.
is here.
The
We must
scar
move.
on her must be
I feel
very
its
special
pull.
because
What
the
now?
vampire king
go.
reacted to it
Follow
in
me.
such a way. She was there to kill the king, but the vampire king's reaction to her scar made everything more complicated. The vampire king kneeling down when he saw her scar is a surprising thing to do. The rain had been coming down for hours. It was the kind of rain that gets you really wet, the kind that makes your bones feel cold. This made the city feel like a place. The lights from the signs and streetlights made everything look weird. Elara Vale pulled her coat around her. The coat was too big for her. She got it from a shelter. They did not let her stay there for the night. Her shoes were old. Her fingers were cold. She kept walking. She stopped, she would get too cold. If she got too cold, something bad could happen to her. Elara had learned a time ago that the world did not stop for girls like Elara. The world just kept going no matter what happened to Elara. Elara was a girl and the world was a big place. It did not care about girls like Elara. She was basically a ghost. Nobody could see her until someone came along and decided to pick on her. The men who found her did not look like people. They usually do not. They were wearing clean coats and they were smiling at her in a polite way. They were speaking in voices that made her feel safe and like she was important. They told her that she was special and that they had picked her. The men said that her life, which was not very good until now, was finally going to be good for something. The men told her that her life was going to have a purpose. The life of the girl, which was worthless, until now, was finally going to mean something. The people in question never said the word assassin. They just did not use the word assassin all. The people I talked to only said the word mission. They did not say what the mission is about. They just said mission. 3 years ago Elara was homeless. She had to eat leftover food that people threw away. She was lucky when strangers were kind to her. Most of the time these strangers did not even look at her. Now 3 years have. Elara stood on a stone creature on a cathedral. The rain hit her face. She looked at the building in the city. There was a light on in one of the rooms. That was where the man she was thinking of lived. The vampire king. To the public, Lucian Ashcroft was a man who had a lot of money. He was very rich. Liked to help people. Lucian Ashcroft gave a lot of money to hospitals. You would never see his face in the newspapers or magazines. He also gave money to places that helped people who did not have homes. However, Lucian Ashcroft never actually went to these places to see the people he was helping. A lot of people thought Lucian Ashcroft was a person even though they did not really know him. Lucian Ashcroft was a mystery to everyone. The men who trained Elara knew the truth about Elara. They were the ones who understood what Elara was like. The men who trained Elara had seen Elara in action. They knew the truth about Elara. People said to her that he was really old. They told her that the man was very ancient. People said this about the man, that he was ancient. They told her that he fed on people who were forgotten. People said to her that if she killed him the world would be a place. They told her that killing him would make the world free. The world would be free if she killed him, that is what they told her. The people did not tell the woman why they chose her. The woman was not given a reason why the people picked her. Elara put her hand in her jacket. Felt the silver blade. It was heavy and warm on her skin, like it was humming a little. The silver blade felt like it was alive. The scar under her collarbone started to hurt. It was a pain that she had since she was a kid. The doctors said the scar was a birthmark. It was weird. It was shaped like a star and it never went away. Elara had the blade with her and the scar was still there, a constant reminder of something from her childhood. Tonight the thing pulsed. It was like the night itself was alive. The thing was beating. The thing pulsed tonight. The woman took a breath in and then she moved. She made a move. The woman moved slowly. The window cleaning machine took her up high. The city got smaller and smaller as she went up. The wind was blowing hard. It sounded like people were yelling at her to be careful. She was not going to listen. When she got to the floor, she used a special tool to cut through the strong glass. She did this with hands that did not shake. Being scared was not going to help her. The window cleaning machine and the strong glass were things she had to deal with. Fear had never helped her before. Fear was something that the window cleaning machine and the strong glass did not care about. The city below and the wind were background noise. The window cleaning machine and the strong glass were what she had to focus on. The woman went inside quietly. She slipped inside the room. The woman was very quiet when she slipped inside. The penthouse was quiet. Too quiet. No guards. No alarms. No panic. It felt like something was prepared. Elara walked quietly through the halls that were filled with old art and super valuable things. There were paintings that were older than some countries. There were weapons that had been used in battles for hundreds of years. Elara caught a smell then. It was a smell like metal under the smell of polished wood and rain. The smell of metal and old things was stuck in her nose. Elara thought about Elara being in a place with much history like the ancient art and the priceless relics, and it was a little scary. What? The woman saw the man in the library. She was looking for the man. She found the man in the library. The library is a place with a lot of books. She found the man sitting at a table in the library. The man was reading a book in the library. Lucian Ashcroft was standing with his back to her, pouring himself a drink. He did not have any armor on. He did not have any weapons either. All he had on was a shirt, with the sleeves rolled up in a casual way like he was waiting for a friend to come over, not someone who was there to kill him. Lucian Ashcroft. He said that I am late. He said it in a very calm way. The man spoke in a tone of voice when he told me that I am late. Elara just stopped moving all of it. She was still like a statue. Elara did not say a word, she just stood there frozen in place like time had stopped for Elara. Her training told her to attack. There was something about his voice that made her stop. His voice was really tired. It sounded like it had been around for a very long time. It was not scared at all. This made her think twice about what she was doing. Her training was saying attack. Something about the way he sounded was making her hesitate. She was supposed to attack. His voice was making her feel unsure. She told him to turn around. She was holding a knife. She raised it up. She said it had to be. He let out a breath and put the glass down. If I turn into something, you will try to kill me. If you try to kill me, you will fail. We will both be really disappointed with how things turn out with the vampire and the human. The woman said, "You do not know me," and she took a step closer to him. She was really upset. The woman looked him in the eye and said, "You do not know me." Again her voice was shaking with anger. He said this quietly, "I know you very well." She really lunged forward. Her movements were perfect. Really fast and precise and deadly. The knife was heading straight for his heart. Lucian was super quick. He caught her wrist in one move. His hold on her wrist was very strong, it did not move all. Lucian's grip on her wrist was like iron, it would not let go. She kicked and twisted and fought with all her might. Lucian still held her wrist. Nothing worked for me. I tried everything. Nothing seemed to work. The thing is, nothing worked all. Elara felt really scared because she saw how strong he was even though he seemed calm on the outside. They were standing close to each other, almost touching, and Elara could feel his warm breath on her skin. It was not that he was being mean to her, it was just that he had a lot of control over himself. Elara could sense the power beneath his nature, and it was a little intimidating. The way he was holding back, that was what really got to her. It was like he was in control of his emotions and actions, and that was kind of frightening. Elara was face to face with him. She could see the strength of Elara's companion, and she knew that he was not being cruel, he was just being careful. Her coat slipped off her body. The woman's coat slipped. It was a coat, and now the woman's coat had slipped. The fabric pulled aside. It was the fabric that had been covering something. Now the fabric was moved out of the way. The fabric was no longer in its place. The scar on her collarbone was showing. She had a scar on her collarbone. You could see it. The scar on her collarbone was there for everyone to see. The thing was giving out a lot of light. It was really glowing. Lucian's whole body became completely stiff. Lucian was really tense, every part of Lucian's body was frozen in place. The pressure in the room just disappeared. The predator's aura was completely gone. His grip on something loosened all of a sudden like it was on fire. The predator's eyes got wide, the pupils took over the gray color until you could only see black. He said no quietly. Elara stumbled back. Her heart was racing. She said, "What kind of trick is this?" Because she was really confused about what was happening with the trick. Elara looked at the trick. She was shocked. She did not know what to do about the trick. Lucian fell down. Not staggered. Not crouched. The man got down on his knees. The vampire king, who was really scary for a long time, fell to his knees in front of a homeless girl. She had a knife in her hand. The vampire king was actually on his knees, which was very strange because he was the vampire king. The man's eyes filled with tears. They were red and shaky. When he saw her scar, his voice started to crack. He looked at her scar like it was something special to him. He really looked at the scar on her, it was like he thought it was a thing. He said to me, "You found me." Then he said it again, "You found me." He was really quiet, like he was sharing a secret. He said, "After all this time." Then he said it again, "You found me." Elara's hand was shaking badly. She said, "Get up," in a voice. This was not what they were supposed to be doing. The mission was supposed to be simple. Now things were going wrong. Elara's hand shook again as she thought about the mission. Lucian said this. He pointed at something with a lot of respect. He was talking about the mark. This mark is also called the scar and the soul-bound sign. There is one person who has this mark on them. Lucien was talking about the mark. He seemed very serious. The mark is a special thing and it is only on one person. She swallowed. I do not know what you are talking about. He bent his head down, showing his neck. The neck is the part of a vampire. The man said to her, "You are my queen." He said this in a soft voice. She is the start of everything for him. She is also the end of everything for him. The woman is his queen, his beginning, his end, his queen. The blade slipped from Alara's fingers. It fell to the floor. Alara was holding the blade. Then it just slipped. Now the blade is on the floor. The blade made a noise when it hit the floor. She did not kill him. She couldn't. Not because of mercy. Her whole world had just fallen apart. This was because everything she thought was real was not real all. Her entire reality had just shattered. The woman was there 1 minute. The next she was gone. She went back into the rain. The vampire king was left by himself on his knees. He was saying a name that he had not said in a long time, a very long time. The vampire king was saying this name. Alara. Ran until her lungs really hurt and she could not breathe properly. Alara was running fast that her lungs burned. When she finally got to the house, the people who were taking care of her were already there waiting for her. The safe house was supposed to be a place where she could feel safe, and her handlers were the ones who were in charge of keeping her safe. She was smiling. The truth that they hid from her was really something. They kept this thing from her. It is actually pretty bad. The truth that they hid from her is something that she should have known about a time ago. Alara did not sleep that night. She was wide awake. Alara could not stop thinking about what was on her mind, and Alara was really tired, but Alara just could not fall asleep. They called me a parasite. I was also called a fraud. People said I was a nobody who did not deserve to stand beside a king. Lucien did not destroy cities. He was not that kind of person who would go around destroying cities like they were nothing. Lucien was actually very careful with the way he treated places and the people who lived in them. The thing is, Lucien did not destroy cities, he really did not. The man did something that was really bad. He did something that was far worse. The man said something. It was true. He actually told the truth. He showed everyone the shelters he had built for people to be safe. These were the places where he helped people in need. He also talked about the people who had hurt Alara and many other women. The men who did things to Alara and others were punished one by one. They did not get beaten up, but they had to face the law and pay for what they did. When Alara stood before the world, she was shaking, but Alara was unbroken. Lucien stood behind Alara, not as her shield. The queen was someone who stood as an equal to others. The queen who chose to kneel first, she was a special person. The queen who chose to kneel first did things that other people did not do. She was the queen who chose to kneel first. That is what made her so unique. The queen who chose to kneel first showed that she was an equal by doing something simple. She chose to kneel first. The queen who chose to kneel first was a queen, like no other. The queen who chose to kneel first was one of a kind. Alara could have just gotten up. Well, she had the chance to walk away from everything. Alara did not do that. Alara stayed. The woman had the power to stop him. She could have ended the man. The woman could have put an end to the man then and there. The man's fate was in the woman's hands. She could have ended the man if she wanted to. The magic made it happen. The magic allowed the magic to do this thing. The magic is really cool. It made something happen because of the magic. She put her hand over the scar on her body. She decided to do something that nobody had ever let her do before. The scar was something that she had to think about. Now she was going to do this thing. She was going to do something with her scar that nobody had allowed her to do. Herself. Lucien got down on his knees in front of Alara. He was not doing this because he was a king. He was doing it because he was a man who wanted to say sorry. He was sorry for not talking to her for a long time. Alara helped Lucien get back up. She had tears in her eyes. Then she kissed his forehead. Lucien and Alara were finally talking after centuries of silence. Alara was forgiving Lucien for his silence. Not ownership. Not destiny. Choice. They worked together to make a world. In this world, people with power were kind to others. They made sure that people who were forgotten were noticed and cared for. The people in this world showed love in a way. They did not try to control each other with love. Instead, they used love to protect each other and keep each safe. Love was something they gave to each other freely. Alara Vale was a person who had no home. She was someone people wanted to catch. She was also someone nobody noticed. Then something big happened and Alara Vale became the queen. She did not become the queen because she was born into a family, but because she really cared about other people. Alara Vale became the queen because of her kindness and compassion. And the Vampire King ruled not with fear. He actually ruled with a lot of power, and the Vampire King was really in charge. The Vampire King was a leader, and people knew that the Vampire King was the one making all the big decisions. But with her hand in his. Final moral, perfect for YouTube ending. The safe house felt really small to her now. The walls seemed to be closing in on her. It was like the walls already knew what she was hiding even before she knew it herself. The scar on her body was hurting under her shirt. It was beating like her heart. Whenever she shut her eyes, she saw Lucian Ashcroft. He was kneeling down. He was not scared, he was being really respectful. People said that he was a bad person. They had told her that he was a monster. She had heard this before, that he was a monster. People never told her that monsters could cry. Monsters, it seemed, were capable of shedding tears like everyone else. The idea that monsters could weep was something that had never occurred to her before. Monsters, she had thought, were supposed to be scary and tough, not sad and tearful. Now she knew that monsters could cry just like people, and that was a strange and interesting thing to learn about monsters. The handlers came back. They were not nice anymore. They did not sound friendly. They were not smiling. They wanted to see something happen. They wanted to see Alara get hurt. When Alara tried to tell them what really happened, that he did not, that he knew who she was, the handlers looked at each other like they already knew everything about Alara and her situation with him. That was when she finally understood what was going on. She realized it at that moment. It was then that she understood the situation. The woman had never been picked for her ability. She was always left out when it came to her skill. The skill that she had was never good enough to be chosen. The woman had a scar. That is why they picked her. They wanted someone with a scar like hers. Her scar was the reason she was chosen. People told her the truth in a mean way because they thought they were right. They said her past was not real. The memories of living in homes and being hungry and sleeping on cold sidewalks at night were not made up, but they were planned. The people in charge put her in situations so she would learn to care about others. They wanted to make the girl feel things deeply, to make her a softer person. To make the character believable. We need to think about what makes the character real. The character has to be someone that people can imagine. This is how we make the character believable. Lucian Ashcroft was a man who could not be killed by things like weapons or fire or even sunlight. This was because of an old kind of magic that had a hold on him. The only person who could actually kill Lucian Ashcroft was the one person who was connected to his soul. This person was the one who had the power to end Lucian Ashcroft's life. Only her. Alara felt something inside of her break apart. It was not fear that she felt. It was not sadness either. Something was going on inside of Alara that she could not explain. Alara felt this thing inside of her. It was not a good feeling. Alara was trying to understand what was happening to Alara. Betrayal. When they figured out she would not go along with them, they tried to get rid of her. The doors closed shut. The lights went out. The order to do this was given in a voice, which is how people usually give mean orders. The woman would have died there just like a weapon that is thrown away and not needed anymore if the ground above the woman had not blown up suddenly. Lucian showed up. It was like a big storm had just walked in. He was the storm, all wild and powerful. You could feel the energy in the air when he arrived. The way Lucian moved was like the wind, fast and strong. It was like nothing could stop him. Lucian was this force of nature. When he got to where he was going, you knew something big was going to happen. The man did not get angry. The man did not yell. The man just took the woman from the car and he picked her up very carefully. This care was so soft and kind that it hurt her feelings more than if the man had been rough with her. The way the man touched her was very gentle. This gentleness from the man broke the woman's heart more than anything mean the man could have done to her. He said this as he picked her up and took her away. To those people she was not important at all. They did not care about her. To them she was like something you use, then throw away. The man's eyes met the woman's eyes. To me you are irreplaceable. A king without a throne, a girl without a past. Lucian's sanctuary was not a palace. It was a place of silence. High up in the mountains far from cities and all the fighting, his estate looked out over forests that were just like they had always been. Alara thought it would be super fancy. But what she found was that it was actually pretty simple. There were stone walls, and cozy fire, and a quiet feeling that felt like it was something you had to work for, not something that was just forced on you. The mountains and the estate and the forests all seemed to be a part of Alara's life now, a life that was very different from what she was used to. The estate was simple, the forests were simple, and even the stone walls were simple. In a good way, a way that made Alara feel like she could finally relax. Lucian never touched her unless she said it was okay. He always made sure to ask her. Lucian did this because he wanted to make sure she was comfortable with him touching her. Lucian was very careful about this. He always respected her boundaries. Did not demand answers. Did not explain the scar. The man waited. He just stood there. Waited. The man was waiting for something or someone. The man waited. Time went by. Days turned into weeks. Alara found out that Lucien was in charge because he was careful, not because he was scary. He only took blood from people who were okay with it. Lucien used his money to help people in need. He paid for places where people could go to be safe, get help, and take care of kids who did not have parents. The person Alara was supposed to kill, this called monster, had actually been using his long life to help people who were forgotten. And slowly Lucien told her the truth. It was really painful for him to do that. Lucien had to tell her the truth even though it was very hard for him. The truth was something Lucien did not want to say. He had to say it to her, and it was painful. A time ago he was a human being. He had fallen in love with his queen. It was a really big love. His queen was a person. She was very kind and very brave, but also very ordinary. The queen had the scar that he had. He had loved his queen deeply. He had loved her in a way, and he had loved her completely. When she died to save him, her soul just fell apart. Was born again in different times over and over. This happened to her soul every time. It was reborn again and again because she died to save him. Always suffering. Always forgotten. Always finding him. Alara was not a copy. She was a continuation. For the first time in her life she was not alone. This was a big deal for her. When the world tries to break people like her, it can be very tough. In this moment she had someone with her. The world was still trying to break them. She was not by herself. When the world tries to break them, it is a difficult thing to deal with. The world did not let people have peace easily. Peace was something the world did not give to people without a fight. The world made it very hard for people to have peace. The order came back. They were scared of what Alara meant. Alara was not something you could fight with. She was a decision. They told a lot of lies about her. They showed everyone what Lucien was like. They used fear to turn people against Alara and Lucien. Alara was taken away. Is now being held. The people who took Alara have her in their control. Alara is a captive. Publicly humiliated. Power does not make someone worthy of love. Having a lot of power is not what makes someone special. It is not the power that makes us love someone. Love is about the person, not about the power they have. Power is something that some people have, but it is not what makes them worthy of love. Kindness really does make a difference in our lives. Kindness is something that can change people. Kindness is very important. We should all show kindness to people because kindness is good for everyone. Kindness makes us feel happy. It makes other people feel happy too. We need kindness in the world. Kindness is the key to a life. Never judge the weak, because sometimes they are the reason monsters learn how to kneel. The end.